Welcome back to Virtual Vino. This is our first Virtual Vino of 2021. Very excited to have everyone back. Hopefully y'all know you can view us on Facebook or YouTube. We're very excited to be starting 2021 with some great wines. And our special guests today, Natalie Brewer and Emily Salisbury from the wonderful new wine bar, Vintage 414 in Cambridge, Maryland. Cool picture. Alex Valentino, who is one of our wine specialists at DMV Distributing, will also join us to discuss today's wines. The Il Casado Pinot Grigio from Italy, which was selected by Dave McIntyre of the Washington Post as the #3 great value wine of 2020. We're also going to taste the Casa Santos Lima Red Blend from Portugal, which received 90 points from Wine Enthusiast. The Fontella Chianti, also from Italy, which received 91 points from James Suckling. And Guru Verde from Jumilla, Spain, which received 90 points and was chosen as one of the 100 great values of 2020 by Wine Spectator magazine. Typically, these four wines retail for $12 a bottle. However, Vintage 414 offered all four plus the Virtual Vino bag and our tasting sheet for only $40. It works out to $10 a bottle for four 90-point wines. It's an incredible deal that they offered, and they also had a special $10 cheese plate that was selected just for these wines. If you've not already poured the Il Casado, please go ahead and do so. Hopefully you're able to find these wines in one of the many stores that had all four available. If your local wine shop does not participate in Virtual Vino, please do not hesitate to recommend that they do so and pass on our contact information. This way you will easily be able to get all four wines in our bag along with the tasting sheet. Wines that have been featured on Virtual Vino can easily be identified in stores by the neckers we put on them. This year, we're going to be doing Virtual Vino a little differently. Virtual Vino will occur every other Thursday at 7 p.m. Typically, we will have local guests like Natalie and Emily of Vintage 414 Wine Bar once a month, and on the other date, we will host winemakers, winery owners, and importers. For example, in 2 weeks, we will be joined by Greg Jones, the Mid-Atlantic manager for Trivan Imports, to sample 4 of their wines that he recommends for Valentine's Day. The Cavalli Rosé Prosecco, the Amore Red Blend, which was also recommended last year by the Washington Post. Thank you again, Dave McIntyre. The Massatina Brut Prosecco, which received 96 points from Decanter, and Guru Gold, which received 93 points from Wine Spectator. To get us started, I'm going to introduce Alex, who is very familiar with Vintage 414. And Alex is going to take us through the 4 wines with Natalie and Emily. If you have any questions or comments for Natalie, Emily, Alex, or I, please don't hesitate to post. Please also consider sharing this on Facebook with friends that may be interested. Alex, you want to take over now? Hopefully. I don't think we have Alex quite yet.
There I am.
There he is. Awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name's Alex Valentino. I've met a few of you before on some previous Virtual Vino shows. So just to give you a little bit of my background, I've been with DMV for, wow, it'll be my 3rd year in June. So and it's, believe me, it's a bunch of fun working here, and not just because I'm working with wine. Believe me, everyone says, "Oh, you sell wine. I bet you have a lot of fun doing that." Well, you know, I do, and it's because I work with people like you, people like Emily and Natalie, people like Alan, and everyone. All the customers have been really good. I have 4 wines to take you through, and in a minute we'll be joined by Natalie and Emily. The first wine is Il Casado Pinot Grigio. I think Alan already mentioned that. It's a Pinot Grigio. Most of the Pinot Grigios come from the northeastern part of Italy, in the Veneto or Trentino regions. They are, this one in particular comes from Val d'Adige, which is a DOC as you can see up where the word Veneto is, it's about, well, it's to the left of that. You can barely see Trentino, but it is actually in Trentino, which is one of the provinces of what they call collectively the Tre Veneto. So it's the Veneto region, the Trentino region, and the Friuli region. So with that, I would like to bring out Emily and Natalie, or I know they're pretty busy there. So one or the other or both. There they are.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Emily. Hi, Natalie.
And it's tough to taste with your mask on. I know that.
It is. Yes, it is.
And trust me, I've tried many a time by accident.
You know, I've seen masks out there with little straw holes in them, with Velcro little things. So, oh, you guys are finished already.
Well done.
So
Emily and Natalie, do you want to tell us a little bit about Vintage 414?
Absolutely. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the three of us, it's Emily and I are business partners, and then we have our chef, Colleen, who's currently cooking for everyone in the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
The three of us all worked together at Bistro Poplar for a very long time. And when the owner decided to sell the building, this building became available, and we kind of just decided to open a wine bar. As far as background goes, I'll start because Emily's background is a lot more impressive than mine. So I was very lucky and was able to work at a fine dining restaurant in Easton, Maryland when I was 15 years old. And that's where I kind of fell in love with food. The chef owner allowed me to start tasting wine at 18. So that's kind of when I fell in love with wine and developed a palate for it. And I've been in and out of fine dining ever since. So that's the short and sweet version. And then here's Emily.
So I started actually not in the food world. I was a business consultant and went to business school and did that for many years. And then I decided when my project ended and my team dispersed and I had to start all over again in the same business, I decided, maybe I'll go do something else. And so I said to my husband, I think I want to go to culinary school. He said, what? And my whole family said, what? I said, well, you know what? Let me just do it now. And if I don't like it, I can go back to the business world. So I went to culinary school outside of Washington, D.C. and concentrated in pastry. And I did my externship at Citronelle in Georgetown and then went on to work at the Ritz after that. And then we moved out to the Eastern Shore on a whim. And I started working at Bistro Poplar where I met Natalie and Colleen. And we all worked together really well and had lots of fun. And it was time to do something different, and so this building became available, and we thought, why not? I've developed a love for wine at this point in time, and no more than just pastry, so we thought it would be time to do something on our own.
I think one of the things that I found that I love the most about this is that we don't have to carry on the fine dining atmosphere and service that I'm used to doing, at least. We still get to give you great food at decent prices and a high level of very attentive service without it feeling stuffy. So that's something that's, I think, perfect for Cambridge and where our town is headed as a whole, especially our downtown. Oh, look, that's one of our favorite wines, the Finca Manzanos, Garnacha. But yes, that's what I'm really happy with within our business. Anyone?
That's great. Sorry about that. We're definitely having some technical issues. It's the first time we've done this in
No worries.
over a month, I guess.
That's
So go ahead and taste the Il Casado, and you all can tell us what you think of the Il Casado, and maybe tell us what you think on the cheese plate you created it would go best with, and or something from your menu if you like.
Well, for our cheese plate, we paired this with some marinated olives because of this. We felt that it went really well with salty foods. It's a really nice aperitif wine. It's great to just start your meal with this. So that's why we thought that the olives would be a good way to go with it. It is has a little lemon and pear to it. It's very well balanced. So I don't know, Matt, do you have comments on it too?
I had a slight floral nose with a little bit of orange blossom and kind of a little bit of gardenia almost. And again, I think that, so this was one of the first wines we decided to put on our by the glass list. And this was before we read any of the views. Alex, I don't know if you remember, it's on one of those first tasting sheets that we did together.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons she and I both fell in love with it was because it didn't taste like a very fruity classic Pinot Grigio. And there were levels to it. And I think the fact that it went well with salty foods, as Emily said, the olives and the peanuts was one of the things that drew us to it to begin with as well. The other, we also had written down just as a couple other suggestions. Maybe rockfish would be great to have with this because of the fatty nature of the fish. Vegetable stir fry. We had like a garlic shrimp scampi would be really nice. Olive tapenade again, and maybe even just a classic artichoke dip would go well.
Okay, you guys are making me hungry now.
That's what we do.
Yeah. By the way, the flatbread that you showed with the Finca Manzanos is one of my favorite flatbreads. I order it almost every time I'm there, but that's a different story.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Anyway, I agree with the wine. It's extremely well balanced. Has isn't overwhelming in any category. It's well balanced. It's fruity. It's flowery. A little bit of acidity on the end, but not bitter. It's a great wine, and I'm really glad you guys chose it to carry there, much less pour by the glass.
Yes, we definitely appreciate you pouring it by the glass. And unless there's anything else we want to talk about with the Pinot Grigio, I say we go ahead and taste the red blend.
Look.
Alex, if you want to tell us a little bit about the red blend.
That's the one. Yeah, I sure will. So the red blend is as it says, is a blend of 4 different grapes, and I would say that most of the grapes, before I even got into wine, most of the grapes I'd never heard of. It is Casado, Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, and Trincadeira, and they're all native to Portugal. So they have kind of what I like to call or lookalikes in others, like the Touriga Nacional has good aging potential like a Cabernet does. But they each have their own color. Some of the grapes are darker. For example, the Trincadeira is a very dark grape, gives it a really nice color and sometimes a little purpley hue around the top of the wine. But if you haven't heard of the grapes, well, don't feel alone, because it hasn't been that long ago that, any of us haven't heard of it either. But it doesn't mean it's not a great wine, and it's a very, very attractive label. So when you see it in the store, you'll stop and say, that's the one I saw on Virtual Vino. So
Natalie and Emily, same question again. Thanks, by the way, Alex. Same question again, with the cheese plate, what you think it might pair well with, and also anything on your menu.
Okay.
All right. So for the cheese plate that we made for this event, we had an aged Gouda. So that has, it's creamy, but still has a little bit of the crunchy crystallization in it. That you get from cheese. It's this has a little bit more complexity to it, so we'll go well with this. On our menu, we had our new mixed greens salad would be really nice with this. It's mixed greens with a roasted butternut squash, some goat cheese, some savory granola, and a nice sherry vinaigrette. So rosemary sherry vinaigrette. And also we thought our caramelized onion goat cheese pizza would go really well with this too. From the menu.
That sounds delicious.
So again, some of the notes, like for us personally, we would describe this as kind of a fruit bomb without the residual sugar that carries in some fruit bombs. So again, a lot of red fruits, black cherry specifically, I think we all agreed on. And then just a slight bit of tannin, which we really enjoy.
Right.
What's great about this wine is that you don't need food to drink it at all.
Right.
I think it's a great introduction to a meal if you don't drink whites or even any type of aperitif. If you'd like to start out a meal, any meal with this, I don't think it would offend anything. As far as complementing, we, again, like a basic balsamic salad with almost any type of cheese within the salad and the vinegar, I think would pair really nicely with that. And then any pan-seared white meat, whether it be chicken or pork. And again, even with some fish, I think that it would be good with the right accoutrements, or the right sides would be good with it. But yeah, we really love this. I know if my father's watching, he loves this wine. Alex, he just ordered a case today. So even before he took it home, this is something he drinks all the time and did order a case for me today. So that'll be on next week's order.
It's a very pleasant, easy drinking wine. It's not going to offend any of your foods. It's going to go well with just about everything. And most people are going to enjoy it without having to think too hard about it or really, struggle. Oh, this is too rough in the end. It's just it's very pleasant for most people.
Yeah. And, there are a lot of people out there that don't care for red wines. And this is a great way to introduce them to some of the newer, some red wines that are out there that I think they'd like quite a bit. And then they, kind of gradually broaden their horizons, I guess, to other red wines. But this is a great, great, great sipping wine. Are there any desserts that you can think of that this would go nicely with?
Anything chocolate?
Yeah, I would say chocolate. I also make a red wine chocolate cake that this would go perfect with because the fruitiness of the wine in it would be really nice.
Yeah.
You can get away with doing a cherry dessert as well. Something that has actual cherry in it would be really nice with this. Some sort of cake with a cherry topping or something like that would be perfect with it. Chocolate mousse even?
Yeah, chocolate mousse.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
good one.
chocolate mousse is on the menu, and you could get this lovely wine to go with your chocolate mousse.
It is on the menu?
Yes, chocolate mousse is on the menu.
There you go, everyone.
Well, that's great.
There's been threats that I'm not allowed to take it off. So
True story.
So I just want to remind all the viewers that if anybody has questions for Emily or Natalie, please don't hesitate to ask, and we'll try to get to the questions. I had a question that I wanted to ask because I have a restaurant background as well, and I was really intrigued by how successful you all have been during COVID. I can tell just by the orders that we're getting and hearing all the people in the background as you all are talking. So did you have to change your business plan, and what did you guys have to make adjustments? I'm assuming you did for COVID, and did you open during COVID or prior to COVID?
We opened on July 23rd.
Wow.
We were in the heat of COVID.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the beginning, or do you want me to?
what's the beginning? Oh, well, we thought we were going to open in like May or April. And we had bought the building and started to do all the process of getting ready for the business. And then all of a sudden they shut everything down in March. And we're like, oh, that's 2 weeks, so we're fine. And then the 2 weeks turned into whatever. And so we all kind of went home for about, 3 weeks, probably 4 weeks, barely spoke to each other, just kind of hung out, hunkered down, regrouped ourselves. And then we were like, okay, we're going to have to still do this because we're already in it. So here we go. And so we came back in and just started going. I mean, it did take us longer than expected, but no. And we didn't change our plan too much. Just that, we have obviously less tables than we expected, and our bar does not have any seats at it right now. But and we have way less employees than we thought we would have. But yeah, but we're still doing really well, and it's been better than expected in the situation. So
I'm hiding behind the logo. It's like
I gotta tell you, it's really impressive because I mean, just opening during COVID seems to me like the greatest risk on earth, and then the success y'all have had is brilliant. So I give you all the credit in the world. I can't wait to get there myself. So I guess we should move on to the Fontella Chianti. Alex, if you want to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, sure. So again, nice, attractive label. Kind of catches your eye when you walk by. But it is a Chianti from Tuscany, as all Chiantis are. It is a blend of 90% Sangiovese and 10% Caniolo, which gives it kind of a lighter than most of the heavy, earthy Chiantis. It's a very pleasant drinking wine. And see if I can talk and pour at the same time. I don't usually have very much luck with that, but I did it. So again, the Chianti is, if you hold it up to the light, it's nice and light, a light red wine. It has I guess a typical Chianti nose in some ways, a little bit earthy, a little bit herbaceous. But again, for people who like Chiantis, you should really love this wine, and it's light enough that you can probably just drink it by itself as well, but it does hold up to some spicy foods. Emily, Natalie, what do you guys think?
Let's see. Natalie didn't pour me any yet, so I don't know what I'm drinking.
What you?
sorry, we're trying, man. We're trying.
That's all right. We really appreciate y'all coming on, as busy as you are.
Well, if you can just take a second, Colleen's back. She's finished everything in the kitchen. She's still on the pizza grease.
Hey, Colleen.
To do.
But this is Colleen. She's a chef.
Everyone, this is Colleen Hughes. The background. She's holding the place together while Natalie.
Yes,
and Emily were
she
having
actually truly is.
Yes.
Not only that, but Colleen's very young. She's 23 years old, and
Baby.
she has an excellent palate and very raw talent for cooking. She's phenomenal. So we're very lucky to have her. I don't think we'd be doing this without her. So she is a big part of everything that Emily and I are doing. So ketchup, drink that white.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
You got yours.
Wow.
Okay. Chianti. All right. So, what do you want to say about this bun?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Alex. You might have missed a couple of your little notes that you had about the Chianti, so we won't repeat you. We have found that it has some nice cherry flavor to it. Also, a bit of black olive. And it's nice. Has a medium body with a lighter finish than most Chiantis. Our food pairing for our cheese plate that we did tonight is the St. Angel, which is a nice creamy cheese. It's really mild, but it is creamy, sort of like the same texture as a brie, but doesn't have a lot of bite to it, and that would go really well. Fat would go really well with this Chianti. And on our menu, we have a pumpkin pesto pizza with feta cheese and mozzarella and a little bit of spice to it, and that's what we thought would be really great with this Chianti on our menu right now.
So, is it worth, Alex, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you said it or not. Oh gosh, I got too close. Sorry. This is a DOCG. Is that worth mentioning? Because there's only, 74 of those, and this is one of them. Am I correct in that or wrong?
No, this is a DOCG, yes.
Okay, so that's pretty cool at this price, no?
It is.
Very cool at this price. You're absolutely right. And we're really lucky. We work with an importer. We work with several importers, obviously, but one of them, we get the Chianti from Trivan Imports, and as great as the wine is, they priced it very fairly, so we're able to pass on a great price. And I challenge anybody to find a better $12 Chianti. I just think it's wonderful, and I'm glad you all are using it because I think it really is a great food wine.
It definitely is. I think that, and we talked about this with Alex a little bit, that this is, it has a little bit more new world characteristics than an old world Chianti. Good night. Thank you, guys. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think especially introducing people to Italian wine. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. We're very glad you're busy.
Alex, you wanted to do this. Remember that. Anyway, yes. So again, I think that's how we bye. Happy belated birthday.
Alex, do you want to explain the DOCG?
Sure. The DOCG is a designation of areas in the Tuscany region, the Chianti region of Tuscany. I'm sorry. DOCG is the designation, the highest designation that Italy has. DOC is the second highest. So they are, what that means is they comply with everything the government says that they need to do. Is not a designation of the quality of wine, but it is a designation that they are adhering to the guidelines the government has set forth. There are only, as you mentioned, I think 74. 74, I'm sorry. 74 designations of DOCG. They are, without a doubt, the highest quality, one of the highest quality wines of that the region. But again, if you as you mentioned before, the Chianti has more of a younger feel for it. So we have a couple other Chiantis that we carry that are what I like to call old world Chiantis, which many people like. I like them, and they go very well with food. The younger Chiantis go extremely well with food, without food, whatever. So again, if you are new to Chianti and you're not sure if you will like it or not, by all means, try this one. I guarantee if you have a taste for Chianti at all, you'll absolutely love it.
I mean, the fun thing about this one is it would be fun to do a tasting where you tried this one, which is a much newer world one with an older world one, the same sort of price point and vintage, and see how you understand the difference of a new and an old. I mean, that's a fun thing to do with friends or people. Well, not that you're friends now.
Not only that, but to have the same food and taste two of the same style wines together and realize what comes out of that and how the food changes the wine is so important. And I think it's lost a lot with a lot of people. I think even when we're tasting, we think too deeply into it because people don't care. We just hope you care.
Right.
We care.
Well, and the other thing is with Italian wines is that it's one of those wines that's typically very important to eat with some food because of the fact that Italian wines have a leaner profile for most people. So the food really brings out the flavors in Italian wines. And if you don't eat them with foods that go with them, it's harder to know what they really taste like.
Yeah, and I think that's true of a lot of most European wines. They were developed to consume with food as an accompaniment to food. So it changes the taste of the wine. The wine changes the taste of the food. They complement each other very well. Right.
This particular Chianti, like you said, is younger and a little bit more vibrant, and it's easier to drink without that pairing. But if you wanted to do an older world Chianti with this one, it would be really fun to see how the food went with both of them.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. And as I'm listening to Natalie and Emily, I'm struck by how much you all know about wine and how great your palates are. And I'm curious, did you just learn it being in the business, or have either of you studied wine, or how did that work?
We drink a lot of wine.
That's the best way to learn.
I mean, honestly, well, for me, it was definitely more of the business and a part of having to do it as a general manager, as a server, just understanding it. But I think it comes from, for both of us, our passion for it. And yes, we love to drink, but we're drinking for a purpose, and that we understand the flavors and the complexity and, you know, the structure that comes from each and every wine. And that's where this whole thing kind of came from, which is why we're really lucky and excited to have a retail shop as well as a restaurant. Even though our background is in restauranting, we have the opportunity to sell so many more wines and everything is curated here. We've literally, and Alex knows, we've literally tasted everything that's on the shelf. Yep. And we like it. If it's not something in our wheelhouse that we don't necessarily like, it's on there because we understand it and know that you will like it if that's in your wheelhouse. So I think that that's one of the pluses in what we're doing. But yeah, we like to drink and we like to taste things. And
I mean, I think all of us, you know, Natalie and I and Colleen are all super into food and wines and, you know, the things that go with that. And so I think we also all have a very good palate. We're all, I mean, it sounds silly, but we all smell very well. We taste very well. We have we're all able to do that, which is a benefit. Not everyone has that ability. Like, you know, they talk about super tasters and super smellers. We all kind of fit into, maybe not super, but
she's a super smeller. Like, well, yeah, a super smeller. This girl can tell the difference between any fragrant flower. Like if there's a difference in violet, gardenia, jasmine, lavender in a wine, she can smell it and taste it. It's crazy. Yeah. But again, we all have different strong points that we kind of pull together.
Right. And that's the good thing. We all talk to each other about stuff. And so Natalie may see something that I don't see and taste something that I don't taste. And that's the benefit of too, is that we all talk to each other a lot about the wines when we're tasting them, so that we can, you know, get a good understanding of what it might taste like, because everybody does have a different opinion and everybody likes a different thing, and that's okay. That's what, you know, that's why there's so many different varieties of wine. So we try to think about that when we're tasting, to make sure that there's things that everybody likes, and that if you like it and I don't like it, that's okay. But let's understand if it's good or bad, or if it's well done and well made and that sort of thing.
That's why we're 31 flavors. We're never going to please everyone.
Well, what I really like to watch you do is when a customer walks in and says, you know, I like this kind of wine and that kind of wine, you know what the wines taste like, and you're very able to predict and choose whatever wine they would like. And so you'll pull it off the shelf. You'll say something like, you really like this one, and this one, and they'll walk out. And I'll bet 9 times out of 10, they come back and say, I love those wines. You know, I want more.
You're right. And that is a big benefit in being in a small town. Honestly, it's the, you know, because everything is curated and we're in a small town, we do have the ability to do that. We pretty much know everybody, and unless you're coming to stay at the Hyatt. I'm related to half the people here, so is Colleen. Emily.
I'm not from here, so I don't get to be related to anyone, but slowly but surely I'm learning everyone. I used to hide in the bistro in the kitchen and never saw anyone, so now I have to be out and about.
Oh, it's great. It's like JoCo soap opera, teaching her who's related to who's done this. It's beautiful.
But the other really fun thing for us with this that I think is really interesting, and when you were talking about us guiding people and what they might like and what they want to try, one of the things that's been great for us is that we've been able to put things on the shelf that are maybe taste like this style of wine, but isn't that style of wine. And we would love you to try it, because you might like Sauvignon Blanc, but this is a different style of Sauvignon Blanc, or this is similar to Sauvignon Blanc, or, you know, you like whatever it might be, or this is one from South Africa, so try this instead because it's really different. Or, you know, that's one of the things that we really find fun, to find different grape styles and different varietals that not everybody has, and guide people in the direction of those.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's what I wanted to do with the Monastrell next. Leading into that, I think that for like a really rich, structurally sound Pinot Noir, people don't understand that they could drink the Monastrell grape and really love it and appreciate it, and know that for a much better price, they could just drink Monastrell, 100% Monastrell, and enjoy it.
Well, that's really great to hear because I'm a big fan of Monastrell, which, as you all know, is Mourvedre in France. And in the region that the Guru Verde, and I guess we should pour the Guru Verde, and I'll speak for just a moment, Alex, and then let you do your thing. But we sell a lot of the regions Jumilla in Spain that I personally think you get the very best Monastrell from. And we sell, gosh, between just Monastrell and Monastrell blends, we probably have a dozen wines. And it's obviously not a well-known varietal, but it's great for us finding wine buyers that can appreciate it and then do just like you're speaking of, turning your customers onto it, because what we get out of Spain, and especially Jumilla, is just the most incredible product for the price. And it's difficult in this business to get people to try different grapes, and I'm glad y'all are doing that. It's really impressive.
That's definitely, I mean, that was one of our goals. That was one of the reasons we decided to do that. That's what we wanted to do, is to get people to try different things, because we really enjoy those different things. Really love that the price point is more reasonable for most people to approach them. And there's just so much out there that people are not familiar with. And there's so much now in a reasonable price range that people are not familiar with. So go ahead and try it, because you're not going to hate it at 15, 16, 12, whatever dollars a bottle. Like, try it. It's not the end of the world. So that's been one of our big goals, is to get people to do that.
Well, and one of the other things that I really like about your place is you offer a tasting pour. People not sure that they want a full glass of it, they can get a couple of ounces and try it. And you could actually develop your own wine tasting.
That's kind of what we decided to do, to offer a 3 ounce and a 6 ounce, and you can literally pick your own flight. Yeah. So, I mean, 3 ounce pour is a classic flight pour. You can pick however many or however few you want, and then you're not married to what we pick for you. You can take, we have 11 wines of each. We have 11 reds and 11 whites. Well, I should say 11 colds and 11 reds. And that's kind of how you can develop your own tasting from there, or flight from there. So yeah, 3 ounces and 6 ounces. And I might add, 6 ounces a hefty pour for a glass in the restaurant world. Most are 4 to 5 ounces. We do 6.
Yep. I agree. I agree. Good comment.
It makes me realize when I come to visit, I'm going to have to get a room at the Hyatt, because I don't think I'll be driving home.
Definitely. Yeah. Yes. You definitely want to do that.
How close are y'all to the Hyatt?
It's about a 7 to 10 minute drive. You definitely don't want to drive.
God created Uber.
Yeah, Uber.
Yeah, sure. Uber in Cambridge. We'll definitely make sure that happens. Absolutely.
Not happening. Your best bet is to stay at one of the B&Bs downtown, and then you can walk.
Yeah.
Much better idea. B&Bs are nice.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more fun being in a B&B, so I think that's a great idea.
There's a lot of Airbnbs as well. So.
Right. So.
And of course, there's your apartment.
That's right.
Right. You could just rent that permanently upstairs, and then
that's what y'all should do with that. Turn it to like a rental for your guests. Oh, that would work out great.
We would need to hire another person to deal with that permanently.
It's sloppy real quick.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
But for those of you who don't know, there is a apartment above the wine bar, and that's what we're talking about. Somebody mentioned earlier, and I wanted, and I promise you, Alex, we'll get to the Guru Verde. But somebody mentioned earlier in the comments about delivery, and I don't know, do y'all do curbside, or do people just come in, or do you deliver? How's that work?
We can deliver. We haven't been approached by that. It depends on the dollar amount, I guess. If you're buying a case of wine, we'd be happy to deliver it within a certain radius.
But we definitely do curbside, and you can order all of our wines online at our website, and we will put a case together or a 6-pack or whatever you want, and you just tell us what time. You can call us when you get here, and we'll bring it right outside to you. You don't even have to enter the bar.
We're also happy to talk to you about that on the phone. If you're not exactly sure what you like, you're more than welcome to email or call us and kind of give us some idea of what you normally drink. And we've done that with quite a few people and put together cases for them based on notes that they tell us. And then we'll go ahead and do that. You give us a dollar amount on what you want to spend, and we can make it happen, especially with the price points and what we've chosen here.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And it's a great way to introduce people to the new wines.
Right.
Yeah.
We were talking about with the Monastrell.
Yes. Well, it's fun. We love being personal shoppers,
Yeah.
especially for wine. It's a lot of fun.
It's like a mystery mixed case for you, and we'll just put it together, and then you find out, what you like and what you don't like.
And there you go. There's your next market plan. The mystery
brilliant.
case.
Alex, you want to tell us a little bit about the Guru Verde?
Yeah, I sure do. And so the Guru Verde is, first of all, 100% Monastrell. And as Austin mentioned, the Guru Verde has 100% organic Monastrell grapes. It's an organic wine for those of you who prefer organic wines. It is 100% organic, and it comes from the Humea region of Spain, which is where you really find a lot of the mostly Monastrell, some Syrah, but primarily the Monastrell grape. And it is, I would say, in a word, fantastic. It goes with food again, as a lot of the wines we've had tonight. It goes with food. Doesn't necessarily have to have food to accompany it to taste really good. And it's a very nice purplish hue around the meniscus, around the top of the wine. And I guess, with that, we'll go over to Vintage 414 and see what they think of the Guru Verde.
All right, Guru Verde. What do we have? So on our cheese plate, that's paired with a Za'atar goat ball. So we make these little goat balls. It's a mix of goat cheese. That sounds horrible. I'm sorry. It's goat cheese and cream cheese mixed together with a little bit of herbs and spices inside, and then we roll them in different flavorings. They pair with our cheese boards. So we have an herbed one with bacon on it for our American cheese board, and we have an herbes de Provence one for our French. We pair this one with our Mediterranean board, and it's rolled in Za'atar spices. Za'atar is a traditional herb blend from like the Middle East, and it's got sesame seeds and usually a bit of thyme. We have some paprika in there, some cumin, some coriander. Yes, and a little bit of cayenne as well. Just give it a little bit of taste. So we had said that this wine would go really well with like a goat cheese or a mild creamy blue. It would also take on a bit of spice, so that's why we paired it with that particular cheese for the cheese board. On our menu, it goes well with our Mediterranean plate, which is where you find the Za'atar goat ball. And also our pork sausage pizza, which has smoked Gouda on it and cheddar mix with some peppers. So those brighter flavors will go with this wine as well. And the tasting notes?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was playing with the graphic. So we got a lot of really dark fruit. Yeah. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
Sorry.
All right.
We got a lot of dark fruits, a lot of dark plums, blackberries, black cherry again, a little bit of tobacco. I think there's also a mineral quality that came into more like a gravel almost, where you'll get from the terroir and the soil. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that at all? Or
Absolutely. Yeah, you're spot on. You really are. And
what I'm saying is correct, so that
it is. It's absolutely correct, and it's amazing that you're getting all that.
I don't know. It's delicious, and this is. I mean, it comes back to what Emily said in bringing people into new wines. I feel like there have been a couple Willamette Valley. Of course, everybody's really hot on Willamette Valley Pinot Noirs, and it kind of drives us a little bit crazy because we feel like there's so many other wines out there that have a lot more complexity to them. This is one of them that I would like to say, if you like a complex Pinot Noir, I think you should try this. And I think that this would be a great introduction to Spanish wines in that world because of this particular wine. It's very smooth, a little bit velvety with some nice fig notes as well on the end. Little kind of figgy, but delicious. I mean, we love it. And again, a wine that doesn't need food necessarily. Right. None of these wines, all four of them, really need food, I feel like. So we picked just some of the notes. If you're cooking at home, a spicy pork, light steak, a nice arrabbiata or some type of spicy pasta would go very well with this. Or even like a Indian lamb curry dish, or like a palak paneer or sog, any type of lamb sog dish would go very well.
I agree.
Yeah, and looking at some of the comments, a little.
Oh, I forgot about the comments. Should we be
a little earthy and qualified in a good way? It's a nice transition from the gravelly, minerally that you're talking about into the soft, mild tannins to end up with. So it really does have a really nice blend and overall balance to it. And being the wine drinker that I am, and I would have said something other than drinker, but the wine drinker that I am, I love just sipping on the wines, all of them, but this one especially. This is my kind of sipping wine, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I agree with everything y'all are saying, and you mentioned earlier about kind of doing mystery cases for people and creating their own case of wine with y'all's choices, and I think that's what we try to do with Virtual Vino in a sense is present people wines that they're not going to be familiar with, varietals in some cases that they won't be familiar with, or regions like Jumilla that they might not be familiar with, and so we kind of similar viewpoints, I guess, except y'all can do it on a much broader basis because you can do whole cases of wine and you can rotate through so many wines. It's just really neat what y'all are doing, and it's nice to work with people that really appreciate wine from all over, that just don't want to taste Napa Cabs and Napa Shards, and there's nothing against those wines, but at the same time, and y'all are a lot younger than I am, but you get in this business, you get to taste a lot of wine, and it does. I personally believe it's a lot more interesting to taste grapes like Jumilla, or in the case of the red blend, there's Touriga Nacional. I just think it makes it more fun for everybody. And the one thing that I would say is, since the economic situation in our country isn't so great right now, being able, like what you all are doing, presenting very economical wines that happen to be fabulous, is really a great service what you're doing.
Well, in this time where we all need extra wine in our lives, it is a great service.
Well, and let's face it, people are staying home more, so they're experimenting with cooking, and they're experimenting with wine as well. And to know a little more about the wide variety of wines from around the world gives you an exposure to pairing the way you guys are pairing with your food. It gives an exposure to trying new wines, trying new food, trying new cooking, and you get some great ideas from going to places like Vintage 414. I love your your 3 cheese plates, I can never make up my mind which one I want when I come there. They're all phenomenal. And that doesn't necessarily govern the wine that I choose, even though I know I should be, but there you go. I mean, it's just fantastic looking and it's fantastic tasting. But there's one of their cheese plates. And if you need suggestions about, what wines to pair with the food, there's a great opportunity with a cheese plate to do a flight based on the suggestions or recommendations of all 3 of you.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, I can't thank you all enough for being on tonight. This was really cool. A lot of fun.
Thank you.
I hope you'll consider doing it again sometime. And again, of course, we thank you for the business, but it's really neat to see what people are doing, especially what y'all are doing with the wine bar. I mean, I wish I lived closer. I won't lie. Alex is very, very lucky to be as close as he is.
Thank you guys. We love Alex dearly. He's one of our favorite reps. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very patient with us, and he has a very, very extensive and great palate as well. Because if we can't find what we're looking for and we talk about it, 9 times out of 10, he nails it. And we're like, yes, Alex, you're right. That's what we're looking for. So we are very lucky to have you guys as well. And your portfolio, we're very happy with it. And we appreciate all the work that you all do on the back end. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And John Donegan made a comment. It's rare that we attend tastings and love all the wines. Great selection. Great job.
Thank you. I would love to meet John Donegan sometime. If he'd like to come in and support us, we would really appreciate that. So John, whoever you are, please come in and introduce yourself.
Yeah. And not just to John. I mean, if you live near Cambridge, by all means, stop in and have something to eat, have something to drink. If you don't live near Cambridge, the trip is worthwhile. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And remember, everybody.
Works are for quitters, people.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again. And Alex, thank you too. Really appreciate having you on.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for all the great information. And I wanted to remind people that in 2 weeks, we will be back with Virtual Vino. And like I said earlier, we're going to have wines for Valentine's Day. And as you can see, there are some really interesting wines there, including the Amore, which was chosen by the Washington Post as a wine to have on Valentine's Day a year ago, almost to the day a year ago. So we will be back in 2 weeks with new guests. These will be the importer, Trivan Imports, and they will be our guests. And gosh, I tasted too much wine. Now I'm babbling. I apologize. So please join us again in 2 weeks. And if you want more information on upcoming Virtual Vino episodes, please don't hesitate to follow us on social media. And you can get all the evidence, all the information there. And like I said, it'll be every 2 weeks we'll do Virtual Vino. And we really look forward to having everyone back again. Thank you very much for watching.